Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? And it's Wednesday, time for that Lo-Fi global news, fresh off that press. Coming at us from the Latin America section of the BBC. Ecuador election goes into runoff with Araz in the lead. Oh, and things are getting hot in the Ecuadorian presidential election. We now know that the candidate Araz will be heading to the runoff, but who his challenger will be is still up in the air. And a pop quiz coming at you, Lo-Fi Nation. What in the world is a presidential runoff election? I mean, this isn't what the U.S. has, is it? What in the world is going on in Ecuador? The quiz. Compare and contrast the presidential election system in Ecuador and the U.S. Write in and give me all those thoughts. Next up, source the Associated Press, World News. Mexico to require appeals on social media account blocking. Well, Mexico is taking freedom of speech online wicked seriously these days, as a new law proposed could fine social media companies, in particular those with over 1 million users, meaning watch out YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, but could fine these companies up to $4.4 million for violating users' freedom of speech if they wrongfully block the user's content or pages. The proposed bill would create an appeals process for individuals who find themselves blocked by these online companies. And if the appeals go against the companies, bam, $4.4 million. We'll keep an eye out to see if this bill actually becomes law in Mexico for you. Now, moving forward, because we never move on from anything. Source, Reuters Aerospace and Defense. UAE Hope probe enters orbit in first Arab Mars mission. You see, 7 months ago, the UAE launched the Middle East's first mission to Mars, and the Hope probe has now made it there and is beginning to send back information to Earth. This is just cool. Space exploration shouldn't be something restricted to just a few countries. We need everyone doing space sciencey stuff, because for real, space is simply massive, and we need all the help we can to understand our own place in the stars. And our following story comes from the BBC China section. Clubhouse, the controversial chat that angered China's censors. So I'm not going to spoil this story at all. I'll simply call it something new for us here at Lofi Poli Sci, a Lo-Fi must-read. Clubhouse is an app that went online to connect Chinese users from mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and around the world, but in Chinese and with audio. The app has now been blocked in China, so the conversation has ended. But as our first Lo-Fi must-read, read the story, because these conversations are really just getting started. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day, the world news section of the AP. Fear and love surround Escobar's hippos thriving in Colombia. Now, it's rare you come across a news story that talks about infamous drug lords and hippopotamuses being connected. And yet, here we are. We'll call this one a Lo-Fi fun read. So the well-known Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar that came to world prominence in the 1980s for controlling the Medellin cartel in Colombia, dealing vast amounts of cocaine. Well, he had his own personal zoo at his ranch in Colombia, and in that zoo, he imported hippos from Africa. 4 hippos, to be precise. After his downfall, the zoo went into disarray and the hippos escaped into the Colombian wild and the river systems. And rivers and lakes being hippos' natural habitat. Well, those 4 hippos have now populated to about 65 to 80 hippos. And it's estimated by 2035, in 14 years, their population could be as large as 1,500 hippos. Read the story. See the conversations people are having about this long-dead drug lord's legacy of hippopotamuses. You won't regret it. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Lo-Fi Global News. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.